I'm Sarah, and I am adopted by Emily. I was 7 when I started going to Narragansett Horse Ranch. My childhood was a lot of just being alone in the world. I had my family, but I didn't trust anybody. I didn't believe that they could help me. Especially, I was making my own food at 3 or 4 years old. I was making food for my family at that time. Just being alone, having to take care of ourselves, you had to grow up fast. There was no room of being young and having fun, playing with chalk, having bubbles, things like that. There was no freedom in that. We didn't have enough money for it, and probably if you did have that stuff, somebody would take it from you.
Adopting a 7-year-old and reflecting on all of the things that Sarah had learned and habituated in her life, and we're just such a different family culture in our family, and so I just knew I needed help. I needed all kinds of help. Sarah was lovely and had some very happy, wonderful things about her in her childhood, but there was a lot of things to learn and a lot of I wasn't quite sure what to do. I needed support. And so Narrowgate was one of those supports for Sarah. Being around the horses, and I didn't quite understand how EAL worked at first. And as I tried to learn, it was a trusting thing for me. Okay, well, let's try this and see what happens. And what I saw and what I experienced was a way to Sarah's heart that I couldn't get to as an adoptive mom. Ways to teach her things that I didn't have words for, and even if I did, Sarah wouldn't necessarily listen to my words. Sarah needed to experience love. She needed to experience what trust could feel like. She needed to experience what peace could feel like. Those are things that she hadn't received in her younger years, and so Narrowgate was a huge support in that transition in her life for several years. So
Narrowgate taught me that to care about others' feelings. I learned to understand that, and to understand that it's a partnership, that the horse and you are companions and you need to work together. So I learned with that to work together with people and with friends and with my family. Everything's not about me, which was really a challenge when I was younger, but it's gotten a lot easier with the horses teaching me, and with parents teaching me that God cares about who I am, and that I'm a child of His. Doesn't matter where I've come from, who I am, who my family was, who my friends were. He still loves me, and He still really wants me in His kingdom.
It takes a lot of different angles to influence a kid's life, and Narrowgate has been a huge influence in Sarah's life. The connection that Sarah has to horses here, it makes its way into real life outside of the arena. And the confidence that she gains from being around, learning things, knowing how and when to ask for help, being able to articulate how she feels or what obstacles are in her life and that she needs to figure out. And the facilitators and the mentors, they invest in Sarah in these moments. And as a parent, I would say having as many people in your corner as possible is a benefit. Mm-hmm. And that you never know what your kid needs to hear or the way that your kid needs to hear it or experience it. So as many opportunities. And Narrowgate has a beautiful way of doing that, because there's multiple ways that they are able to interact with the horse, whether it's on lead or off lead, on the horse, off the horse, out in the pasture, in a round pen, walking down the lane. There's so many ways for for Narrowgate to facilitate healthy, meaningful interactions that make its way into the kids' hearts. Another thing I saw horses teach Sarah is that you are loved and accepted. I can say those words, I can demonstrate those words to her, but the horse is not connected to anything in her life that has to do with any trauma or whatever. It doesn't matter, whatever, just normal life. And this horse will choose her. And that's just such a beautiful metaphor, such a beautiful picture of what God does for us. And it makes a difference. It has made a difference in Sarah's life. Sarah saw at Narrowgate that there are people and there are animals that you can trust. And ultimately that led to trust in God. But I think first it happens with that horse, because she needed not a person. She needed an example of what God's love looks like to her, and she needed to experience that. But having it come from a horse is non-judgmental, not connected to anything in her life, having no history, and just saying, you are worth loving. And it's a really special gift that the horses give here to kids, is that you're worth it. You're worth it. The ranch does a good job of like giving the kids different goals and challenges, and they have to work through all these different emotions and feelings. And the horse is there the whole time, reflecting for the kids, supporting the kids, helping the kids. And the facilitators try to help the kids process that so that they know how that looks outside of the arena, because the horse can't follow them to school or follow them to these hard relationships, but there is still a truth there that kids can take. There's tools that they can actually have and use every day in their lives that will help set them up for success. So I represent one parent of many who have benefited from Narrowgate's help.
Thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you so much for, hopefully you took something from it, and thank you for just hearing our heart and hearing this different life, which some of us live, and I hope God showed you something from it.